Today we have with us a serial entrepreneur turned investor who looks for and invests in consumer and technology startups, Vice President at Aureus Venture Partners, which is an active seed stage investor in innovative Indian consumer startups. Vineet Bhansali, thank you so much, sir.
Thank you for having me.
So my first question to you is, with startups, like startup has become a major thing in today's society. So with more and more startups that are coming up, what does your company look for when you are funding a startup?
Well, the primary things that we look for in a startup that we are going to invest in, number one is the team. We are very, very interested in making sure that the founding team is the kind that will be able to successfully build a large business in the area that they are in, right? It could be fintech or education. We want to make sure that the founders work well with each other. They have the relevant industry experience and they know that it's going to be a tough, long job to build a great company. The second thing that we look for is the startup needs to be in a large market. The market could be as big as India or the rest of the world. These are important.
So what do we do when, how do we, differentiate if the startup is from a large market or, a smaller scale market? Like, what is the thing that differentiates them?
Well, the idea with a larger market is, number one, a startup needs to have space to grow. And any startup today in India is going to have multiple competitors.
Exactly.
You want to make sure that there is enough space for everyone to grow and stabilize. If the market itself is very small, then maybe within a year or two, you've already attracted every customer you wanted to, and then what? Right? You can't suddenly change your business model. When you start off, you want to make sure it's in a large market and then take a sizable part of that market over a course of years.
All right, sir. So that leads us to our second question. When we talk about startups, we mostly think of youth, right? Because youth are filled with ideas and new concepts. So what is your message to the youth who would you are planning to have a startup of their own, but they do not find funding, they lack funding?
This is a very interesting question, and I believe the most important thing that the youth should look for when they want to start a company is understand that the end goal, the end objective of a startup is to be a successful large business. The end goal of a startup is not to raise funding. If on the way to building a large successful business, they feel they need funding to scale up, there are obviously firms like mine which are more than happy to help them. But attracting funding from a VC firm is never the goal of a startup.
Okay, sir. So that leads us to our next question, which is, what is an area of interest that has very few startups?
There are a couple of areas that we have seen, but primarily we are seeing that there is significantly underpopulation of startups in fintech and insurtech in India. There are lots of entrepreneurs trying different strategies, but these are two areas which I think India is highly underpenetrated in. For example, 3.49% of Indian consumers have insurance policies, right? And this is very, very low. So startups should definitely look at these spaces. There's a lot of opportunities for growth.
Okay, so that was Mr. Vineet Bhansali giving us a whole new, clearer idea about startups and different aspects towards it. We thank you so much for being with us, sir, and thank you.
Thanks.